Okay, so first question is what is Iowa Kids Garden Day? So, Iowa Kids Garden Day celebrates kids and educators growing and eating delicious food. So, on May 21st, 2025, we're asking you to join us in recognizing the people and programs providing these innovative hands on learning opportunities. Across the state, volunteer site coordinators are planning gardening activities for kids. The kids will garden on Wednesday, May 21st, or anytime that week. We know that school schedules and Iowa weather can make things interesting. So these site coordinators are working together with schools, early care staff, as well as community partners to make this all happen. So, like I said, event timing, May 21st, or really anytime in the month of May that works best with your site. The location is your site. It could be an early care site, a school, a community garden, a community organization. All ages of kids are welcome to participate. And then the event activity is oftentimes it's planting the garden, but it could be any kind of growing activity of your choice. Now, if you're wondering where this Iowa Kids Garden Day came from, I've got some logos on the screen. So the Iowa Farm to School and Early Care Network, we're a project of this network, this coalition that meets every other month here in Iowa. Our meetings recently have been virtual, but we're all about the procurement, education around farm to school and early care. So we got 3 annual events, and Iowa Kids Garden Day is the newest. It's our first, this year's the first ever annual event. And it will be so backing up, the Local Foods Day is the first of our annual events in the school year, and that happens this year. It'll be September 24th, and that is when kids are served at least 2 locally sourced ingredients as part of their breakfast, lunch, or it could be a taste test. The Great Apple Crunch is in October. It's October 5th this year, and kids taste locally produced apples. And then Iowa Kids Garden Day is our spring event, and it's the 3rd Wednesday of May annually, and this year, May 21st, and kids participate in gardening or growing activities. And the purpose of these is to know we're all in this together. We have maps for each of these. So you can see other sites around the state that are also participating and hopefully network with some of those and know that this work is happening in lots of places. So the goals of Iowa Kids Garden Day. We're encouraging kids and communities to grow and eat delicious local food. We're celebrating the farm to school and early care work happening across Iowa. We're supporting educators and leading gardening planning, classroom connections, and food safety. We've got lots of online resources for you. And we're building relationships between educators, kids, and local food growers. Really, it's a shout out to those who are already doing this work, as well as supporting and encouraging new sites to get involved in this. A commonly asked question we've had is who leads the local events? And site coordinators are the ones who do. They volunteer to organize the event. The site coordinator is different depending on the organization and the event. So in some cases, it's the school or early care staff. So maybe the director of a daycare or the FCS teacher or a science teacher or just a garden champion at a school. Or in other cases, it's a community organization that's spearheading this effort. Maybe it's a library staff or 4-H or extension workers, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. It could be the Master Gardeners. It really just depends on the site. And in one community, there could be multiple celebrations happening with different audiences. For example, where I live, the school is offering one, but there's also an evening opportunity at a community garden. That one was organized by extension staff and a Girl Scout volunteer working together to organize that event, whereas the school event was organized by the school staff. So it really just depends on the event for that. As far as the kids who's invited to participate, that would be early care, both in-home and centers, kids in any of those, schools and homeschools, families can get involved. Also community organizations, like I mentioned, extension scouts, 4-H churches, libraries. And then I put a little asterisk there that the participation is determined by the local site coordinator. So I'm guessing a lot of you who are on the call today are going to be the ones deciding who is this an event that's open to the public? Maybe it's at the library and so it's open to the public, or is it open only to kids at a particular school or daycare or community group? That's up to each individual site. All right, our next question. Is a garden needed to participate in Iowa Kids Garden Day? So no, it's not necessary. Gardens are really fun and they're a great way to teach kids so many different life science concepts, and just so many things can be learned there. But it is not necessary. Also, Iowa Kids Garden Day could be celebrated indoors or out, depending on the weather, especially. Yeah, any of the above are fine. So some examples of non-garden activities, because some people say that's a barrier, we can't get involved, and there's still a lot of things you can do even if you don't have a garden. So maybe the kids are starting seeds in Ziploc bags. I'm thinking of young children here. Maybe older kids are caring for potted plants and taking home a window herb garden, or younger kids might be having a pretend farmers market in classroom centers, or maybe older kids are having a real farmers market so that they can practice counting money. They could be, the younger kids might sing songs about plants, fruits, and vegetables. Kids of any age could have taste tests or visit local farms, go to field trips, learn where their food came from. I mean, there's so many options for this. So our digital toolkit has activity ideas. And Dan, if you're on, if you could put that link in the chat, that would be awesome. So our digital toolkit has activity ideas, it has links, it has ideas for indoors and out, samples of what that might look like throughout the day. So we'd encourage you to check that out. There's also a lot of ideas in there for like social media, publicity, how easy ways to organize your event. So there's a lot of good stuff. Okay, next question. So in late May, we'll be sending out a survey, and people have said, what kind of survey data are you requesting? It's a really short survey. We're just asking if you have any photos that you have photo permission for, please share those, and then we can use those to continue to promote the event. So if you're willing to share photos, we'd love to see those. Any kind of stories of what you did what you did for your celebration, what went well, how the kids reacted. We love those. And then number of participants. We'll be curious about the number of kids and the number of adults who participated. And then any feedback on communication or ideas for next year, samples of a social media post, anything like that that you would like to submit is great. But we keep it pretty short if you're short on time too. Okay, so steps to get started. The first one is choose a site coordinator. So maybe you're saying, this sounds like such a good idea. Our school, our early care, our community garden wants to get involved. Cool. First choice, or first step is choose that site coordinator, and maybe that's you. So then once you know who's going to be organizing this, and maybe it's a committee, that would be even better. Plan an activity that best fits your program. So like I said, that could be planting the garden. It could be cleaning out the garden, getting it ready for planting. It could be harvesting some of those early crops, right? Maybe that would be a fun experience for the kids. So plan an activity that fits your site, your program. The third step would be to work with the staff to schedule a date and time. So if you're a master gardener, work with the staff to determine, like the staff of the school or an early care site, to determine a date and time to bring the kids to the garden. Or maybe you're working with staff at your own site to determine when you can go outside to the garden on site at your school, those types of things. Register your garden on the map, and I think Dan has that link for you. That's at the top of our website. We have all kinds of resources there, and if you scroll down, that's the map where you can see where people are participating around the state. Then after you register, get it all planned. Fifth step, celebrate and take photos, and then we'll have that short survey for you as the last step. So when planning your event, like I said before, you can choose any activity, indoors or out, that celebrates gardening and growing food. Planting is always top of mind, but it could be planning or maintenance or harvest or learning through STEAM. It could be taking care of classroom plants, or plan a real or imaginary garden, field trips, harvest, eat that asparagus, lettuce, and radishes, creating art in the garden, starting seeds, growing microgreens. Compost is always a fun one with kids. Soil testing with older kids that or younger, but I think the chemistry of how soil tests with older kids is a neat application. So there's lots of opportunities here, and there's more in the toolkit online. That brings me to what resources are available. So like I talked about, that first picture is the toolkit for site coordinators. This has the activity resources, publicity ideas, planning tips, and it's a multi-page document, PDF, that you can look at. But Dan, if you could add the site resources folder, this one has a bunch of social media posts. It has press release examples that you can copy and paste and tailor. It has coloring sheets. There's customizable posters. There's a flyer. The newest addition is the scavenger hunt. So my 3 photos on this slide, I've got the toolkit and then like the 3 days to go for your social media. And there's a whole countdown in the folder. But then the newest one is the garden scavenger hunt. And this would be an easy one to run off multiple copies. I know that when I'm in a garden with kids, I don't want all 25 second graders holding shovels at the same time for a lot of reasons. And so doing stations in the garden is one of my favorites. So that is described in the toolkit, how you can set up different stations in the garden. And a garden scavenger hunt is one that I usually use. So I would recommend checking that out. We also have the last link that we're going to put in the chat is the seed resources. And this is new. This is cool. There's organizations here in Iowa that have seeds to provide educators and nonprofits and organizations, and some for anyone who wants them. So on this seed resources page, you can request seeds from a variety of different places. So it lists some ideas. So we know that there's some extension offices. Did you know every county has an extension office with people who can answer your questions about gardening and yard work and all kinds of things? So if you have questions, contact your county extension office. The website is listed on this page that Dan just put in the chat for us. So some of these extension offices, though, collect seeds in the area and then distribute them for free, which is super cool. Also, a growing number of libraries around the state are doing the same thing. So check that out as well. But then there are 2 other organizations. So Seed Savers Exchange in Decorah has a program where they will ship seeds to your location. There's a shipping fee. You can read more about it on their website. The last one, though, is 9 Square Feet, which is an organization in central Iowa that collects and distributes seeds. And they are putting on a seed event just for Iowa Kids Garden Day participants. And so there's a link where you can request certain types of seeds, and they'll try to fulfill that. You can also say how many packets of seeds you would like. And we're asking everyone to input that information by May 1st. And then you'll get an email with the details of how to pick up those seeds. Now, the pickup will be in Urbandale, Iowa. So if you're in the corners of the state, yeah, it's going to be a drive to Urbandale. But if you're located in central Iowa, that's a really cool opportunity. So, okay, those are the resources available. Last year, we did a pilot of this just to see how things would go. It was on May 15th, which was the 3rd Wednesday last year. There were 30 sites, but I think the cool thing is there were 3,000 kids involved. So there's a lot of opportunity with this to get a lot of people gardening in ways that they may not have had before. And so the statewide celebration is now this year. It's our first annual, and it'll be on May 21st. And I hope that you are all involved. So if you have questions, feel free to email me. My email is on the screen. We do have one more webinar coming up where this one, it's a fun one. A bunch of people have given us ideas of what they'd like to do with kids in the garden. We've got lots of pictures, and it's just all about how to engage kids in the garden. So we'll share resources, we'll share ideas, and yeah, it's a good one. So stay tuned for that. It'll be May 6th from 3:30 till 4. We'll record these and have them available because we know that people who work with kids have busy schedules. And so it's tough to be all the places. So we'll have that. I am going to stop sharing right now so I can see all of your faces again. And if you have questions, I hope that you're putting those in the chat. So I'm going to look at the chat here for the first time and and feel free to unmute if you want. Yeah, so the site that mails the seeds is Seed Savers Exchange in Decorah. So, and thanks for answering that, Dan. Yeah, and I think there is a limit to how many they can send out in a year, just due to funding. So once they hit that limit, then they may be done. So I would ask early on that one. And then the 9 square feet, though, they will continue to fill orders that are put in by May 1st. So what other questions do you have? Or feel free to unmute, and it would be great to hear what your site is planning, or what are you thinking? That would be fun too.
Good morning. Our site has, we've started a bunch of seeds inside, beans, peas, and sunflowers so far. And now we're on spring break, so we have a week. And some of them are already coming up. We've also decided to take out this centerpiece that has been there for about 8 years in the garden, kind of a climbing trellis type thing. And we're going to recreate that middle of the garden between the 4 boxes. So that should be fun. And I'm getting ideas from the other teachers and things because I don't want to push my ideas on them all the time, but that's what we're doing. And the shed that the shed that was donated to us, where the gentleman is putting a porch on it. So it's really, I can't wait to show you pictures of the finished product because it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't know how we got so lucky. Nice seeing you all.
That's really cool. Thanks for sharing, Marty. Yeah, Libby, were you going to share too?
Yeah,
Calling you
I
out.
am a kindergarten teacher and we do not have a garden on site. So I am planning a field trip for that day and I'm going to take them to my own house and have them help plant tomatoes and green beans. And I, this weekend, planted some spinach and lettuce. So if there's anything up and ready, I'll have them. I know, right? I'll have them help harvest it.
Oh, that'll be fun. That's a cool
So it's
opportunity.
just a really teeny thing, but it's the first step for our school. We're in the middle of an addition and I am campaigning hard for when it's finished having a garden area on property, but right now it's not a possibility.
Yeah, that's what I love about this is that it can be so flexible depending on what's available and any opportunities we have to show the kids that their food is not grown in a grocery store, right? That there's more to it than that. That's what we're all about. Yeah, I'd love to hear others. So yeah, Stephanie.
I work at Iowa School for the Deaf in Council Bluffs, and we recently had our greenhouse renovated. So we are going to do our Iowa Kids Garden Day to try and bring everybody into the newly renovated greenhouse. But what I found from it was reaching out to like the extension office was just really community building. There's people that want to help out and that didn't even know we had a greenhouse. So as the school nurse, I have no expertise on gardening, but I'm kind of like being the point person to connect all these people together. So this is a really cool project. So thank you for putting it on.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know you guys had a greenhouse either. That is an incredible resource. And thank you for taking that on. I'm sure that's not part of the formal job description of school nurse. So, but what like a great proactive way to teach health at the same time. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. All right. We had one more here in the chat. We have a large raised garden area, planning to have kids plant our green beans, and we're starting other things inside. We're adding on a pollinator area this year, and they'll help plant the wildflower seeds too. That's cool. Feel free to unmute. Otherwise, I can share one that's going on in my community that I'm helping with. The extension, the 4-H director in the county. I live in Northeast Iowa. I'm in Bremer County. And so the extension director heard about this at the extension conference and reached out saying, hey, can we get something going in our county? And I said, yes, there's a group of kids that would like the Girl Scout troop that I work with that would like to be a part of. They've always wanted to work with the community garden, but honestly, like the communication was tough, trying to figure out a time to get them there. And so this event gave us the opportunity to say, okay, let's do this then. And because one of our other Girl Scout volunteers tried to get it started last year, and it didn't work out just because communication is hard. So yeah. Anyway, we're going to do stations in the garden, and we're going to do the scavenger hunt that I shared, and then they're going to do a taste test. I haven't quite decided what. We'll see if there's anything like actually growing. The garden we're going to is a sharing garden that donates over 10,000 pounds of produce a year to the local food bank. So I don't think we can actually like eat the things that are grown there. So anyway, we'll need to figure that part out. Maybe there's something from my garden that will be ready that I can take for the taste test. And then the kids are going to help in the garden for one of the stations. And then the fourth one is learning the story of it, because our community was actually very badly hit by the 2008 flood. And so where the garden is located used to be houses. Actually, some of my family friends lived there. And the houses were condemned and torn down. And so this garden is now in the place. And so I feel like it's kind of a happy, it's neat that this, it's like a happy ending to a story that's really ugly, and has been a neat place to bring the community together. So I'm glad the kids can get involved. Yeah. Okay, so I'm checking the chat again. Recess duty, I get that. Good luck on recess duty, Libby. And then promote on social media and printables. I'm so glad. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, if anyone else would like to jump in, feel free. Otherwise, we can end early too. I want to be respectful of your time, but I'm glad you're here today, and I hope that this helped answer some questions. And but feel free to email at any time too. I'm pretty responsive on email, or I can send your email to the people who know the answers, because I don't know them all.